Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10x your life, your business, all of it. Time to crush those goals. Time to get after it. Let's go. You are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. We're coming to you again from beautiful downtown Springfield in the Big Dog Construction Studio. Hey, we've got so much going on in Springfield right now. Make sure you are participating. Get out there, network with folks, be a part of the community, support local businesses, support local nonprofits, and let's go. We can all grow together. So, hey, another great episode for you today. We're going to get right to our guest after the break. Hey, Springfield, when it comes to reliable, high-quality roofing, you don't want to leave things to chance. That's why you should reach out to Acosta Angeli Roofing, your local roofing expert, serving Springfield and surrounding communities. From quick, dependable repairs to full replacement, from residential to commercial, they are your trusted pros. Call them today at 217-993-2748 or visit their website to book your free quote and inspection. Don't wait. A little leak now could lead to major damage later. Trust the local experts, protect your home, and get peace of mind with Acosta Angeli Roofing. All right, and we are back. Joining me in the studio now, Rachel Thomas from RLT Jewelry. Rachel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right. Appreciate you coming down on this cold, windy, snowy, blustery day out there. Now, I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. We've talked a little bit about it in the past. I know I'm close with Michael. We've done a lot with him over the years. So I'm just looking forward to learning a little bit more about you and what you've done over the years. So
yeah.
So before we get into the business, let's start with you. Talk about your background a little bit.
Okay. Well, like you said, I'm married to Michael Thomas. I feel like everybody in Springfield knows
Everybody
Michael
knows
Thomas.
Michael, right? Everybody knows Michael from a lot of different. He's just is in everything.
He is, and he's just constantly in the community serving, and it's so admiring to me, and it really drives me to keep going too. I got to keep up with him. So other than that, I've been born and raised in Springfield, Stout and Lauer Fine Jewelry Service, AB Lauer. That's all my family. I'm a fourth generation jeweler. So my dad is Bruce. He's the bench jeweler behind the scenes, the hands-on, getting his hands dirty, making all the pretties. And he's still doing that. He's in Peoria, and from time to time, he'll help me out. So I started RLT Jewelry about 7.5 years ago, and it's been a huge blessing to me, and I feel like it's been a huge blessing to our community and the people that I get to serve and the family members.
Absolutely. So growing up with that family business around, did you always kind of know that you were going to do jewelry, or was it something completely different?
No, I would love to go in the back and watch my dad work, but I was only allowed in there for like a couple minutes at a time because of all the chemicals and the tools and stuff. But I can still hear the ultrasonic and the steamer and the drills and like all the things. My mind can just take me back to that nostalgic view. And the contrast of watching my dad's callous, dark hands working on like this gold diamond ring was so fascinating, just the contrast between the two. So I was always drawn to it, but I didn't know that I would end up in the business myself.
So what did you do before you started the business?
Well, I was a server and bartender for a long time. I went to college for psychology and art. My dream job was to work with inmates and do art therapy. So I guess in a way it worked out. So I ended up my senior thesis was on grief and bereavement. I had no idea how significant grief was going to become in my life at that point. All I knew was that I experienced the hardest loss of my life up until that point when my dear friend passed unexpectedly. And, I was 20 years old, 21, and I had no idea how to deal with it.
Sure.
And so one way of coping was through writing about it and getting more knowledge on how people grieve. What are the 7 stages of grief? What's this process supposed to look like? And where am I at?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I apply it to my day-to-day life? So I had no idea how important grief and bereavement would become in my life.
Yeah, how impactful that would be for your business now and everything. So 7.5 years ago, what made you say, I do want to get back into the jewelry business, and specifically this line of the jewelry business?
So I would tamper with like wire wrapping and like hemp jewelry all my life and all those little jewelry things like beading and whatnot. So that was always in the background. And when Addie, my daughter, was about 9 months old, my mom was watching her at the time while I worked for Springfield Clinic full time. And they decided that they were going to move out of state. And so I love my mom. She gave me a 2-week notice to let me know, hey, I'm not going to be able to babysit anymore for you. We're moving out of state. And so after a lot of prayer and talking with my husband, we decided that it was a good time for me to go ahead and stay home and homeschool and start on my business. That was our dream all along, was for me to be home and homeschool. And this was like a prime opportunity for us to do that. So I was actually a vendor at the state fair for the Power Light Fest. And I had this lady come up to me and she was like, have you ever done breast milk jewelry? And I'm like, what is that? And she explained it to me. And I was so interested in it. And she was willing to let me use her milk to try it out. And I believe I was still pregnant with Addie at the time. So this was before I left the clinic, but she let me experiment with her milk. And so it took me, my dad, and my husband figuring out the formula of how to preserve breast milk and turn it into like a breast milk stone to set into jewelry. So it was definitely a learning experience. But I started doing keepsake jewelry in that time. And then 9 months later, that's when I went ahead and stayed home and focused full time on business and family.
I love it. And homeschooling's great, isn't it? My kids are homeschooled as well. Has that been a good experience for you over the last number of years?
Yes, a very, how should I say it? Very learning experience.
Sure.
I'm learning more about myself in this time of homeschooling my daughter than I feel like I've learned about myself my entire life up until this point.
No doubt about it. No,
Yeah.
It's afforded us a lot of flexibility and everything, and also being able to tailor their education. It's been great for our girls. So
Yeah.
we loved it. So 7.5 years ago, you started the company. Have you always been pretty artistic or creative? You mentioned a few things, but has that always been part of your life?
Yeah, I would paint. That was how I like dove into my emotions. I'm sure some people would be familiar with my background of drug and alcohol use. I'm 11 years sober now, but before that, I would get drunk and hyperfixate on painting. And I would just, as long as I had my wine and my paintbrush, I was content. Now it's a little harder for me to paint. I don't know if there's ever going to be a time where I'll have that passion again
Really?
for
Okay.
painting. But in a way, I have some sort of an outlet. Like I still like doing abstract painting. Sometimes I'll do memorial paintings where I'll work the ashes into the paint. And so instead of like a jewelry with ash, it'll be a painting. But other than that, not too much. I would write, I would journal. I would always have some kind of outlet of expression. And I feel like that's why I was drawn into psychology with the art minor. And I really just wanted people to see how art is so expressive and you can really get to know a person at what they're painting or.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a science to it.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, you definitely have an outlet for that creative bent right now. You've mentioned a couple of things that you do. You've talked about the ashes, you've talked about the breast milk, but tell everybody all the different types of jewelry you make.
So I focus mostly on memorial jewelry. So ashes, funeral flowers. I also work with hair breast milk fabric. I'm currently wearing my wedding dress as my wedding ring. I can use almost any material.
Which one is it?
This one.
That one there.
Yep. So the big stone.
it is.
Yep.
Gotcha. I see
Yeah.
that. Okay, cool.
So I also work with fine jewelry too. So diamonds, gemstones, all the things. So I started really honing into bridal sets this last year or so. The most memorable bridal set that I've done recently is it's more of like an enchanted forest kind of look. We used heirloom diamonds and gold. So it was the gentleman, he brought in his ring from his grandpa, and I believe on his dad's side, and then his grandma on his mom's side. And I was able to take the gold from both of those rings and set it into a new ring with the diamond from the grandpa's as the major diamond set. And then the accent diamonds were from the grandma's ring.
Okay, so cool.
Yeah. So it's more than just ashes at this point. I'm going more in the line of what my father does and going more fine jewelry, and it's exciting, but it's a little intimidating, to be honest, because it's so precise. There's so much science and angles and geometry, all the things that you don't think you're going to pick up on, as an adult that they teach you in school.
Sure.
That's what I use.
You can use that stuff now.
Right. So there's less of a creativity to that line. With the ashes and the breast milk, a lot of the times the stones themselves almost look like a painting. So there's more of an artisan flair to those pieces.
That's fun that you get to do both sides of that. Have the fine jewelry and what you've done for the past 7 years. But with like the breast milk and the ashes jewelry, was that a long process for you guys to figure out how to do that? I don't want to know any company secrets or anything here, but was that a long process to figure that out?
Yeah. So when my dad and my husband and I brainstormed the idea, at first we had one and we were like, okay, this is definitely going to work. And then we tried it, and about like a week later, we could tell like it wasn't up to par for what we're wanting to withstand. And then we started doing a little bit more research in some chemicals and ways that we can preserve. And so at that point, when we figured out what we were missing, we waited probably like 6 months to kind of see how it would preserve over time. And since that point, I have had no yellowing. The breast milk has stayed the same consistency. I haven't yet to have somebody come back from 7 years ago to say, hey, we need to redo this.
Sure.
And I try to encourage my clients to have 6-month check-ins on any jewelry, whether it's keepsake jewelry or fine jewelry, just to make sure that, the prongs are still happy, that nothing needs to be retipped, that nothing needs to be reset, that the diamonds aren't going to fall out, all the things. And to make sure that that keepsake stone is still bright and highly polished and all the things.
So what do you, when your client comes to you, what kind of process do you take them to help them get to a final piece? Like, do they come in and say, I want something with breast milk? Where do you go from there with them?
So I sit one-on-one with them and I try to draw out the story. Everybody's grief is different. Everybody's breastfeeding journey is different. So what it looks like for one might not be what it looks like for somebody else. So trying to use that as inspiration on where can we kind of navigate to storytell their experience, where you're going to look at something and it's going to say, like, I triumphed through 6 months of barely producing enough milk to feed my child. And this was the most stressful experience that I've ever had, and trying to provide for them and all the things. So trying to draw out their story in order to create a piece that mimics that respectfully. So I sit with them and I have a showcase. So I have a lot of ideas, and we can pull from, I like the halo design on this ring, but I want it in a necklace, and I like the size of this, and I want the shape of this. So we can pull in and cater to what it is that they're looking for also. So everything is totally custom, all catered to that one client. And I love that because I want to hyperfixate. Like, that's something that God has given me the ability to do, is like really hone in on one thing and make it as great as I can. So I try to get the story out before I dive into the design.
Yeah, because you really are, you're meeting them in a moment of potential grief. Could be something that just happened. It could be something that had happened a while back. For most of your jewelry, is it folks maybe just something just happened and it's closer to the event is when they want to create this?
A lot of the times with funeral flowers, yes, because they're worried about preserving the flower themselves. So I always tell my clients we can have a drop off where I'll go ahead and start the drying process of the flowers, and then you can have that month or 2 months, however long you need to let the grief set in before you make this decision, which I'm absolutely happy to do. I still have some flowers from a woman who lost her son and she's just not ready yet, but she knew that these flowers weren't going to last. So I have them dried and ready for her, and I'll check in every once in a while and just touch base. How are we doing? Do you want me to just let you come to me? That's okay too, you know? And then there's clients like today, 3 years ago, where the funeral roses and they dried on their own. And I'll still go through my process to ensure that they're still workable.
yeah.
But grief takes time for some people, and everybody grieves so different. Even from the time that I meet somebody and where they're at in their stage of grief on that day might be totally opposite than how they're going to be the day that they pick up. And in the meantime, grief is so wavering. It's not linear, and everybody's grief looks different from a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. What do you do with the flowers? What are some of the things that you can do with the dried flowers?
A lot, yeah. I will say that I call them standalone keepsakes, like ring holders or picture frames or trinket trays. There's so much that are available for any keepsake material, but especially with flowers, I'm finding that's more popular with funeral flowers than with breast milk or with ashes. But the flowers, getting back to having like a mosaic painting, the flower keepsake stones are always so different because the petals will be cut a certain way and like different hues, different colors, and all the things. So if you can imagine working with a 10 millimeter stone and using a little needle to kind of move them around just how they're supposed to be, it's always interesting. And sometimes I'll hone in and I'll pay more attention to the details. And sometimes I'll set them in there and just be done with it because it just looks perfect as it just naturally fell, which I love when that happens. I feel like it's so God inspired.
Sure,
you know, I have
bet.
very little interference on those. So, but each one turns out so unique. And I try to showcase that when I am meeting with my clients one-on-one. Some items on display might have milk in them, but they can be made with flowers, or depending on the color of the flowers and all the things.
So the flowers, like, are when you said like what part of the stone are they encapsulated kind of in the stone somehow? I mean, I'm just curious what that looks like.
Yeah, so they're encased in an acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like made into a stone, and a very soft stone.
Sure.
So it needs to be cared for properly. And as long as we're mindful of it and we meet every 6 months or a year to make sure that it's still happy, we're good.
And the work you're doing is amazing because, like you said, you're meeting people in this time of grief and you're creating something beautiful for them to be able to remember their loved one by. How does that make you feel personally in terms of being able to elevate that client, to have them have that keepsake to where it really remembers their loved one?
To be honest, Robert, I try to keep myself out of it as much as I can. I know my business is my name. And I know that I do a lot of the hands-on work, but this isn't just me doing it. You know, my husband helps so much as far as letting me decompress after maybe a really hard consultation and being able to pray with me and like let things go. My daughter helps too. And of course, God. I can't do this if I didn't have God on my side. So I try to keep myself out of it as much as I can because I feel like as soon as I take credit for the success or even for the failure. It's very dangerous for me because, again, I can hyperfixate on that. And I'm a very little use to anybody when I get in that way. So I have to try to remember like this is an honor and a privilege for me to be of service to these people.
Right.
It's not me. I can't pour from an empty cup. And I know where my strength comes from, and it's not self-made. It
Right.
can't be.
Right. So what are some of your most popular pieces in terms of, are they rings? Are they necklaces? Or what's your most popular piece that people make?
Rings are definitely the most popular, and then necklaces for sure. The men love the pocket knives. Those are definitely the number one
Okay.
for them. I like the pocket knife too. I have one with my dog's ashes in it, and I'll use it for anything and everything.
So what do you do with that? Is it like, is the pocket knife a typical, fold out and it's part of the casing? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's just right there on the handle.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool to have. I think that would be something I would like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're very convenient.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. So how has your business changed over the last 7 years?
Like what I kind of alluded to, I can see where I was self-will running and where I was taking the passenger seat. There's been some times where I've had these grandiose ideas and they just flop. And that's okay. I need to learn. So I try to be more of service to others than what I want. Not only is my artistic taste a little bit different than others, but what I want to see might not be what is right for the business or might not be what's right for my family.
Sure.
So just the balance of that. I know that my primary purpose is my daughter and homeschooling her and making sure that I have set boundaries, not only with clients, but also with her and with my own time. And really just a balance of where is my energy supposed to be focused in this moment? And what's the next right thing for me to do? I started the keepsakes asking my dad and my husband for help.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, it was quickly like, okay, I got this. And it flopped. And so I have to remember that when I'm able to not put myself first in the business, when I'm able to look at my clients first, my family first, and be of service instead of running on my own selfish ways, then the business succeeds. But I had to learn that the hard way, especially first off, like I know what I'm doing and you don't know, so don't speak to it.
Sure.
Lo and behold, I don't know everything and I'm still learning and I want to keep learning. I have to keep learning. If I stop learning, I know I'm in trouble because I'm going to start sliding backwards and I want to keep going. So as long as I keep my feet planted where I'm supposed to be,
Right.
I think it'll be okay.
So what are some things you do to continue to learn? Are there trainings you take or just honing your skills? What are some things you do?
Doing things that are uncomfortable, mostly like sitting here with you.
Sure.
I'm also, I'll watch how-to videos, learn how to do different settings, just continue learning the skill of the trade. But also, I'm still studying like grief and human interaction. And also, how can I biblically care for these people where I'm doing them a service spiritually, not just emotionally and mentally and physically. And a lot of it too, Robert, with homeschooling my daughter, I'm finding out so much about myself and where I fall short and how I can continue to better myself. I just see my daughter as a big mirror a lot of the times because she'll act up and I'm like, where did she learn that from? And it's more than likely me who's spending 24/7 with her.
Sure.
So I have to be willing to see that and to shift and to learn how can I better handle these stressful situations, or how can I better be of service to her? How can I better be of service to others or to my husband? And just continuously growing and learning not just in the trade, but just in life skills.
No, and I would say you talk about your education, talking about grief. I mean, having that skill set is super important for what you're doing right now to be able to walk with people through
Mhm.
that because not everybody can do that. Not everybody is comfortable in that setting. Not everybody knows grief well enough to walk with somebody through that. So kudos to you on that.
Thanks.
So
I feel like I can't take credit for it.
no, I get it. No, I understand that. But with the tools of the trade, the actual creating of the jewelry. You have family members that you go back to, being from
Mhm.
the family business. You ever
Mhm.
go back to them and say, "Hey, how you do this? You know, what do you do right here? Come on."
Yeah. So, of course, my dad moved out of state right when I started smithing. And I'm like, really? This is when I'm supposed to start?
Mhm.
And so we would video call. And I would say, I think I'm doing this right. Can I brainstorm this with you? And he would watch me on the screen and he'd be like, yeah, I would do it this way, but how you're doing it is okay too. So a lot of my skills were self taught, but it was almost like, I don't know, like riding a bike. Like you just pick it up and you go with it. And it was so natural for me to sit at the bench, pick up the tools and start working it. Like God gave me the ability to just know how to do it. And I can't really explain it any other way besides it's just a gift, it's a blessing. But there's been times where I've had to troubleshoot with my dad, and there's some clients will come to me for a repair, and I'd say, this is better for my dad to do. I'm going to go take it to him
Sure.
and he'll handle it. And I believe that clients want to hear that honesty,
Mhm.
that, this will be easier for him to do.
Right, right.
So.
Yeah, you have their best interest at heart, so you know
Mhm.
the best person to go to. You ever get that nostalgic feel when you're
Oh, yeah.
working on the bench, like you hear something, one of the tools makes it, and you're just like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
that brings me back."
Yeah, the ultrasonic
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a big word, but it's really just the little bath for the jewelry to get cleaned in.
Oh,
So
okay.
it vibrates really fast to get all the dirt and the grime and the guck off of whatever. So
Uh-huh.
you always have to clean jewelry before you take your torch to it. Otherwise, that dirt and that grime is going to like melt into the metal and it's just a pain to clean up. I'm
Mhm.
only speaking from experience of a
Is
lesson
that
learned.
degraded at all too? If you get all that gunk and junk in there
Yeah.
when you're, I would imagine.
It takes away from it for sure.
You said one of your more popular ones are rings and stuff. Do you have a favorite type of jewelry that you like to create?
I really like the pocket knives. I know
Yeah.
because it's such a big canvas
Mhm.
that I can just flow with it.
Oh, I
And-
bet.
and
Yeah,
I like
compared to a
that.
little tiny ring or something.
Yeah, yeah, but I also like really artisan ones like this one where it's just a whole bunch of detail. Mistakes are just little what does Bob Ross say? Like little happy accidents,
little happy accidents, yeah,
like, oh, it's
uh-huh.
supposed to go this way.
Right, right.
And I love when those things happen because it just reminds me like I'm not in control.
Mm.
And metals, especially gold, can melt so fast at the torch. The melting points they just happen so fast. And so you really have to be meticulous. And if I let up for just a split second, it can change everything.
Sure.
So I have to pay attention. And even when I don't, when I make a mistake, it'll work out.
No
Like
doubt
it
about
has
it.
to.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the memorial jewelry is custom, right? And you're talking about the fine jewelry you're doing that could be custom too. But do you have any pieces that you just create, or do you have any plans to just create some pieces and sell them that are not custom made for somebody else?
Yeah, I try. I have that in my mind a lot, but I don't have a whole lot of free time to
Mhm.
get those done.
Sure.
And then it's like whenever I do have the free time, I'm like, oh, I want to try this.
Right, right.
So I keep coming back to that idea. I do have some pieces on display that are available just to purchase right then and there. But a lot of them are custom made to order, I
Yeah.
guess is
And that's your niche. That's where you can make a true impact on a client like that. So that's great.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot of business. Let's move to the personal side. What are some ways
Okay.
you elevate your life personally?
I have to have my quiet time in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I have to. Yeah, that cup of coffee, and I'll read something like a little devotional. I'll read a little bit of scripture, and I just have my one-on-one time with God. And here recently, we just got a rabbit a few months ago. And so this rabbit and we've bonded over this quiet time because she gets me all to herself, I guess. So she thinks that she gets all the attention. So she'll like end up laying on my shoulder up on the other side of the couch or she'll be laying next to me and I'm just reminded of like, don't pick up your phone. Just focus on your quiet time, your coffee, and just spending time with the pet. Just focus on where you're at. And I need that. I need that stillness before all the interactions of the day. And honestly, I have to pray before I open the door to clients. I have to just constantly be spiritually fit because if I'm not, I'm going to be running on self and I'm going to cause harm. And I can't afford to do that today. It also helps to have a husband who sees my potential and he knows what the work that I'm doing. He knows how hard I work. He knows all the things and he can keep me grounded. And I need that. I need that reminder that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or I need to pivot a little. He kind of says it like, you have an idea and you just go with it. And I need to be balanced more. So I feel like he helps me a lot to be reasonable and to make wise decisions instead of acting on impulse.
Sure.
So that's definitely something I need to.
Right. Now you mentioned the bunny. I had a bunny once growing up. So are they pretty fun to have around?
Well, she's free range.
Yeah.
So she's only in her cage at night to sleep. And as soon as my husband's up in the morning, she's at the gate like, open it up, I'm ready to get out. So she's ready to go first thing in the morning. And she just wants to be a part of. And it's so interesting because we lost our dog. It'll be 2 years in May. And she was my dog, like before my husband and I got married, before anything, before I lost my friend, before anything was me and my dog. And when she passed, I've served a lot of clients who have lost their dog. That was before everything else, their constant relationship. And I still wasn't expecting how hard it hit me. Even having all the knowledge and allowing, the grace to let me have my process, I didn't realize how big of a hole I had until we got this rabbit.
Yeah.
And we have another dog and I love her, but she's my husband's dog. She's linked to him. And so this bunny is my daughter's, but she's a mama's girl.
Oh, yeah.
And so she definitely wants to be a part of. She loves to be groomed. And I'm like a picker. And so like I want to work with my hands. I'm just naturally inclined to do stuff with my hands. So she just loves being groomed. Are you familiar with My Little Pony?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Rarity.
Okay,
yeah. Rarity's my favorite. She was my little bench action figure for a long time, like my little bench mate. And I compare Cloud, the bunny, to Rarity because as soon as you start brushing her, she's just like,
you're right.
She's like all in. She loves it. She's so pampered. It's so funny. And now I'm starting to see that, my daughter asked for the vanity and she's doing all the makeup stuff. And I'm like, I wonder if there's a correlation between these two.
A little bit, maybe.
She's getting a lot of mom's attention.
Right. No doubt about it. So I guess I didn't think about it. I don't know if you do this, but, when you think, I guess, memorial jewelry, my mind automatically thinks people, of course. But do people come to you want to do something with their animals' ashes or anything like that?
Definitely. Yep, I've worked with ashes from dogs and cats. I worked with a feather.
Okay.
And I've worked with claws, like nail claws from a cat. I've also worked with coyote fur.
Coyote fur?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, from a hunt.
Oh, okay.
So,
not like a pet coyote or anything like that.
Right. So it was an interesting experience, but that was actually a pocket knife and it ended up really cool looking because of the black with it. So yeah, I've worked with a lot of pet memorials. I've done paw prints too. Those always turn out pretty neat. Fingerprints and fur. I actually just made my daughter for her birthday. I said that the bunny likes being groomed and she has to be. She's an Angora, so she needs to be groomed 3 times a week. And her fur is what's used for like those really fuzzy socks and stuff, that material. Her fur is just all over the place. So my daughter asked for a heart pendant with Cloud's fur in it. And so I gave it to her for her birthday. And I had a couple of clients today, and she's like, "Look at my necklace. This is clouds for her." And so it was
I bet
so
she loved
cool.
it.
Yeah. And the way that it turned out, it was so cool. It looks like a cloud. And I'm like, you can't make this up.
Right.
Like, it's so cool how everything just works out so uniquely and catered to each individual. It's so cool.
That's awesome. Well, Rachel, I always like to close with these last couple of things. So
Okay.
we've talked about a lot of great stuff personally and professionally. Give the audience a piece of advice, one on the personal side, one on the professional side, to help them elevate their life or business.
Life's better in the passenger seat. And as far as business, I would advise to build community around the clients that you serve. I've made partnerships with funeral homes, lactation consultants, NICU nurses, doctors, support groups, anybody who is servicing the same clients that I am. We're all wanting to be of service to the same people, and we're wanting what's best for those individuals. We're all on the same team. So I would encourage you on a business standpoint to network with the people that your clients are already seeing, and just remember that we're all on the same team and we're all in their corner and we want what's best for them.
No doubt about it. And is there anything we can do community wide to help all of us elevate Springfield and the surrounding communities?
Well, support local, of course, but also just to be kind to one another. I mean, like I said, we're all on the same team, right? So we're all in the same community. This is my home. This is your home.
Well, Rachel, if somebody wants to have a custom made piece by you, how do they go about finding you?
RLTjewelry.com is my portfolio. I'm on Facebook. You can also give me a call, 217-303-6143. We'll schedule a consultation and meet one-on-one, and we'll create something for you.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, again, appreciate you spending some time with me today.
Yeah, thank
Great
you.
learning more about you and your business.
Thank you very much. You too.
All
I
right. Well,
appreciate
we're going
it.
to let Rachel get back to elevating Springfield, but for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at sangamontreeservice.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.
All right. How about Rachel? Phenomenal work she is doing for her clients, walking them through a difficult situation with the heart of service and compassion. Hey, before we get to what we discussed through a 10X lens, do want to thank our friends over at Acosta Angeli Roofing, your neighborhood roofing professionals. Hey, licensed and insured. Acosta Angeli Roofing gets the job done right. Give them a shout for a free roof inspection and estimate. Hey, the entire team over at Acosta Angeli, Juan, Tony, Zach, all of them phenomenal people and phenomenal work. Hey, give them a shout. Rachel talked about, first off, the entire theme of her working with her clients can be equated to what we talk about in 10X and service over selling, really having that servant's heart, right? She mentioned that a couple of times, how it's really her impacting her clients and her really listening to her clients and her finding out what their story is so she can craft a piece that is perfect and memorable for them. You know, in 10X, we talk about service being senior to selling, because if you truly serve the customer's needs, understand their problems, and provide massive value, the sale becomes the natural outcome, not something you need to force. And I think you heard that from Rachel a lot, is how her heart was the heart of service, not just trying to sell a piece of jewelry. It was trying to find the right thing for the client and try to craft something perfect based on their story. So how can you utilize that in your business, in your industry? Because we're all selling something, whether it's a product or service, but always remember to keep service senior to selling. And then the other thing she mentioned there at the end, her piece of advice on the professional side was build a community around the clients you serve. You notice that she built relationships with funeral homes, NICU nurses, lactation consultants, really anybody that may be serving that same client base. And as she mentioned, you're all on the same team and all in the corner of the client, making sure everyone is serving them to the best of their ability. So you could do the same thing for your clients, for your customers. Find where else they are going, find other places that they are being served, and create partnerships with those folks. It will help you, it will help that other business, and ultimately it will help the client. Well, great stuff from Rachel. Give her a shout for any memorial jewelry. We'll be right back with more after the break.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Ki-ai!
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey, don't forget while you're out on social, check ours out. You can check my personal one out at Robert Farrell, at everywhere. Check out those Elevate Springfield pages, those Big Dog Business Coaching pages as well. Check us out over on YouTube. Give us a subscribe, give us a like or a follow on any of those channels. We would certainly appreciate it. So hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst, American Family Insurance Agent, is here to help you protect what matters most: your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343